You might find this interesting. Although Rebelli and I live in the same city, we're from different families, from different sides of the families, but I think you'll see that certain feelings are similar. And no, I didn't hear him prepare, and I'm not copying. But it really, 15 years to the day of the Levaya, Uncle Moshe called me over and said to me, Yaakov, I have an eitzah to give you. And I'm thinking to myself, what's it going to be? I'm newly married. I'm expecting my first child. What's Uncle Moshe going to say to me? As is known, he had his feelings and his thoughts. I'm thinking, what am I doing? So he says to me, it happened to be that it was the day of my grandfather's Levaya, and Uncle Moshe says to me, let me give you this piece of advice. He said, many times at a Levaya, or when people speak, they get up there and they don't have their thoughts together, and they get up there, they can't get a hold of their thoughts. It's very uncomfortable for them and everybody else who's there. Take my advice, write yourself an outline, and when you talk at the Levaya, you'll be able to say your message with clarity. And I did, and it was true, and I've used that advice many times since then, and it's stood me in good faith. As I stand in this room that we're in right now, it brings back a flood of memories. Many Shabbosos, Yom Tovim, Starim, singing, discussions. We're in this very room. Before this home that you so beautifully built, Aunt Rebecca, was the home in Brooklyn, Sun Valley Cottages that I spent Shabbosos in. One very memorable discussion that we had at the Shabbos table on a Friday night was, I think it was Ezra, but there was a lot of discussion about spices and soup. And to say the least, Uncle Moshe wasn't happy about Ezra's thoughts. And Akiva was involved also, and they asked me for help. But as was mentioned, Uncle Moshe wanted it to be thought out. He didn't want somebody to just say, this is what it is, or I heard this. He wanted people to understand what they were talking about, what their learning was, and what they were sharing. I asked my oldest daughter last night, tell me, what do you think when I asked you about Uncle Moshe? What do you think of? And she told me he was always smiling, schmoozing. He could relate to her, a little peppering, but always with good flavor and good humor. What are you learning? What are you doing? What are you growing? She's hoping to get her permit next week. They were schmoozing about the permit. You're going to camp. What are you doing? And she told me last night he gave a little nip to my youngest daughter on the cheek, a smile. Only afterwards we realized he had just come out of the hospital within 48 hours or less, and there he was welcoming us to his home and making it as a regular day and keeping us as comfortable as possible, not knowing what the challenge that he was going through at that time. He was so proud. He always shared his proudness and his link in the Bruder chain. Is that right? And he was so proud that not only was he a part of it, but then as the boys got married and then they had children, it was such a symbol to him how the perpetuation of that family coming to America and the continued growth of the family. But don't think that he only thought about that side of the family. He recently told me, he said, wow, it's so beautiful how the Langer family has grown. He said, when I came into the family was 10, 12 people. He said, now Baruch Hashem, the family has grown so much. Beautiful families with children and grandchildren, and it's really so special to be a part of it, to see the growth and to grow together. Many people have mentioned that, I don't know if they said the words, but he was their favorite uncle. And it was really, I think, because he related to everybody. Every person, no matter what country they came from, no matter what city they came from, no matter whether they were learning, they're working, whatever they're doing, he had something, he was always interested in what they are doing and accomplishing, and he always had something to share with them also on the other side. To take you back a little bit further in history, when we were growing up, we came to Camp Magen Avram, and he came to visit us on visiting day. We stayed at their house, and I remember he took us to the aquarium. I don't think we were the best at the aquarium. I don't know if we were homesick. I don't remember what it was, but he wanted to make it special. He wanted us, to see and learn and do different things, and it was special. Looking back on it, I don't know if we appreciated it then, but it was really very special. When he came to my bar mitzvah in San Diego, besides for buying me a huge set of Rambam, which I don't think I'd ever seen something like that in my life, he said after the bar mitzvah, he said, the Mets were in town. So he said to me, Yaakov, I bet you want to go to the ball game. So I said, Uncle Mike, I bet you want to go to the ball game. The Mets are in town. He's like, I'll make you a deal. He said, we'll learn something in the afternoon before the game, and then we'll go to the game. What was he teaching me? You're able to have different interests in different things, but what was the condition that we would go to the game? Was that we learned something together first, because that was really what drove him and was part of everything that he stood for. As was also mentioned, I'm laughing because as Rebelli was speaking, I was thinking, oh wow, we really think alike. He taught me many of my first Hartzik and Nagunim, and really, I remember in Sun Valley, we sang for hours on Friday night. This past Shabbos Mevarchim, which was the Shabbos after, not the day after, but a week after the Levaya. So I was the cousin for Musaf, and I was planning on singing a certain again. And as I was standing up there, all of a sudden, the Ratzon that he taught me many years ago popped into my head, and I said, it must be a Simon Ben Hashamayim. And I sang his Ratzon because it was there, and it was really something that carried and carries me through. As most people who know me, I generally like to sing and be part of singing opportunities. I really think that it gave me an important lesson about singing and the relationship to Hashem that one can get through singing, as well as through learning and through other pursuits. The Medrash brings down, and I saw this from the Nesiv Shalom, brings this Medrash. The Medrash says that Avram Avinu had 10 nisyonos, and if I'd ask anybody in the room, or most people in the room, and if I'd ask what was the greatest nisayon that Avram Avinu faced, most people would say Akedas Yitzchak. Take your one child, your son that you've been waiting for, that I promised you, and shaft him. So the Medrash says that there's another nisayon that is, just as great. And what was that? It was lechacha, leave your home. So the Nesiv Shalom asked, he says, how is it possible that you can compare the two? Clearly, anybody who you would ask, but clearly the Seichel, killing one's only child is going to be the greatest challenge that somebody would face in their life. So the Nesiv Shalom says, what's the track? He said, there are different types of nisayons. The nisayon of killing one's child is an incredible nisayon, but very often we find that a person is able to be oimed bin nisayon. There's a nisayon, a great nisayon one time, and a person is able to stand up to the nisayon and they're able to conquer it. And the nisayon of lechacha was go from your home, go from everything that you know, forge a new path, and continuously, daily, go and create new mishpachos, create neshamos, and constantly go on. I think it's something that we can apply to Uncle Mike. He could have easily said in his life, I had my nisayon, I had my different challenge. But every time and any time he saw a challenge or he had a personal challenge, the reaction that I saw, that I can think of several examples, is that he went and he did something about it. He went and he took the bull by the horns, and he did something with it. A couple examples which have been mentioned, but not tonight, but at the Levi and other times, was he came to Barakaway, he saw that there was a shul, and he saw that there was no oitzer, or there was no oitzer that was organized, and he took this and he built a beautiful oitzer aswarim and constantly added to it. He didn't tell people, he just added to it. He bought things, he added things, he always made sure he made sure things were organized and people knew where they were. He saw that there was a challenge and people were talking during laning or whatever it was, so he created parsha sheets, which he spent hours and hours and hours on to create this legacy of this beautiful appreciation that people could have and they could learn during the time of laning, but not only during the time of laning. They could bring it home. They could share. They could share a Torah at home. They could share it with their chaverim. They could share it wherever it was, and it was really unbelievable. And most recently, Ezra, I think, mentioned at the live that he had started he said, I'm gonna learn Shas, or I'm gonna learn Masechtas, and I'm gonna do it now. I think which was maybe at this latest kufa of things, of challenges. But it was always with the growing, always with an appreciation, and every day was an appreciation of life. It was always, we're going to learn, we're going to daven, we're going to grow, we're going to grow, we're going to grow. And it's a very big, it was a very big part of our daily, or maybe not daily, we had, of course, a lot of interaction because we used to come always to visit grandma, but there were many times that I shared when my parents were in Eretz Yisrael. This was a home away from home. We used to come for Shabbos all the time, no questions. Sometimes we would give it with Uncle Moshe, or he would give it with us, maybe a little too much langers. But he really appreciated us. He appreciated our accomplishments, and it was something very special to see. When Rebbe was speaking, I see that a lot of the things that he felt as the favorite or oldest nephew, and that closeness, that was a different type of closeness, but the relationship and the treatment that we received was no different, and it was such a simcha for him when we grew and we had accomplishments. We had another child was born, another simcha. What are you learning? It was always something special. I could end off the end of the Haftorah in this coming week's part. It says, and I just want to add that Uncle Moshe was always very careful, or to the best of his ability, he always wanted to quote Shloshim Yaakov correctly. Because he always said, I remember him telling my father one time when my father said, Uncle Moshe, I'm not sure if you quoted the pasuk correctly. He says, I can't stand it when a yeshiva guy doesn't quote the pasuk in Navi correctly. They think they know it, they saw it in the Gemara. Anyway, it was something very important to him that he did. When he did it right, and it was b'shleimus. Should be we should share a nechama. The mishpacha should have a nechama, and Uncle Moshe is here with us, and Rebbe Hashem will be together soon in Yerushalayim with Mashiach.